Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Why Are You an Entrepreneur? The Trials and Triumphs. I'm Maureen Edwards, the founder of 8 Simple Steps and this weekly live series. And I have to tell you, it came about because entrepreneurship is hard. And for all my small business owners who are tuning in right now, you know that I bring you rock star entrepreneurs every single week to talk about their journey, to make you realize that you can take the hard out of owning a business. So, tonight, no exception this week, we are kicking off 2023 strong. I have Kiara Vandergriff. She is the founder of Virtually Kladi. And I am so excited to have you, Kiara. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, the first question I'm going to ask is before you jump in, well, you know what? Let's jump in and then we'll get to the name of your company that I find very intriguing. So, tell me your road to entrepreneurship. How did you get here?
So I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps, and I discharged in 2013. I opted to get out a little bit early, and around that same year, I actually met my husband. We went on to move to Hawaii. He received orders. He's still active duty, and we went on to move to Hawaii. And life kind of happened. I got pregnant. We had his oldest daughter from his first marriage come live with us permanently, and all in the same year. I became a mom of two. I got
Yeah.
out of the military and I became a mom of two, and just the ball just kept going, and I had no idea. I was so lost. I was in really deep depression. I had no idea what I was doing as a mom. I was just finding myself. I felt lost because like I was this person for so long. I was in the military, and like now I'm like I don't know who I am. Um, so I decided to go back to school after a couple of things didn't work out, and I went to school. I graduated, but that very last semester, I got hit with another pregnancy that was completely unplanned. um, and I actually lived in Hawaii for about 3 months by myself. It was me and my son. My husband, and my daughter moved back to the States, and we stood out there because it was my last semester. So I did the first half of my pregnancy by myself. um, so that's military life, though,
It
and
is.
it is. So I graduated. We came back, and I struggled really hard to get into that pregnancy. I just could not connect. I couldn't connect with the baby. I couldn't connect with the pregnancy. Then the baby was born, and for like 6 to 8 months, I could not connect. And I found myself in like this really dark space. I was very depressed, very anxious, constantly, all the time. At some point, I was like suicidal, and it was really hard because I didn't understand what was going on. And I actually spoke to a friend, and I was just telling her, and she was just like, there's this way you could work online, and she told me about 90-day VA,
Okay.
with Esther Inman. So that's actually how I started. I purchased the course, completed the course, and um, landed a few clients. And I still wasn't feeling like this is the thing that I want, that I love. So then in that same community of virtual assistants, I actually came across DBM Bootcamp by
Okay.
Daya, and I completed it. I purchased it. I completed it, and I loved it. And that's exactly where I decided to go. I was like, okay, this is the thing I want to do. It's got project management, it's got systems and operations, which I love creating, and just team management or support. So I was like, this is my thing. This is what I want. And I kind of just went with it. And I've changed directions a couple of times, but
And that's okay. But so, how do you think the military has prepared you for entrepreneurship?
oh, because you meet all kinds of people. It's no different. You have people like in I've worked with people in different countries, virtually. And when you're in the military, you get people from so many areas. I met someone who was from Africa
Hmm.
in the Marine Corps. So like it's no different. It's just really just understanding that people kind of need different things and different styles of communication and work styles. And it's the same way in the military. Like some people need you to kind of hold their hand and walk them through it. And some people just need you to tell them, hey, this is where you go look for it, figure it out. If you need help, ask me. So it's a lot of it is mirrored.
So you said you changed directions a couple times.
Yes.
Explain to me, because it's important to be very flexible when you're an entrepreneur. You sometimes don't know where the road is going to take you. You may start out one way and then something comes up. What was that aha moment that said to you, this is what you're doing. You're the founder of Virtually Kladi. Like, this is it, right?
Yes. It was it was the moments when I was initially when I was doing social media management. I was not happy. I started to feel like I was checking boxes. And I don't like being like, okay, I'm just going to check the box. I'm just going to do the thing. And it really started to affect me. And then in turn, because I wasn't really in it, it started to affect my quality of work.
Right.
So that's when I decided, okay, I've got to do something. I've got to change directions, which I did. So then that's when I steered over to being an OBM. And I also started to realize in those areas, I started to say yes to a lot of things that I just wasn't comfortable with. I don't enjoy marketing, but I was saying yes to marketing.
Right.
I enjoy it in a certain, like to a certain degree, but it wasn't something that I wanted to solely focus on. Um, and I had learned that about myself that I started to say yes to a lot of things because like you never know what opportunities you're missing. And it's like, but you're also hindering the areas that you really want to grow in if you're saying yes to things that you don't really want.
I think that's such an important piece right there, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs will take whatever they can get, but really not focus on who they ultimately want to serve and what they ultimately want to do. And they don't realize it for a long time. It seemed like you realized this rather quickly, what you wanted to do, what you were good at, what you were passionate about, and said, I'm not doing the rest.
I kind of tend to catch on very quickly because if it's not making me happy, I don't want to do it.
Well,
I don't want to
good.
do it. And I mean, my big thing is obviously the relationships I build with my clients. I always consider how that's going to affect them. Like my change of direction, how is that going to affect them? But I also have to remember that if it's not aligning with me and it's not feeling right for me, it's not fair for them.
That's a good point, because you can't serve them if you're not at the top of your game, and
Right.
that hurts everybody. So, what do you like most about entrepreneurship?
Ooh, well, I have my little one, my youngest baby. She will be 4 this year, and I love being able to be with her at home. So, being that we're still a military family, it's not easy. Getting her into daycare is not easy. It's this really long list. But I also don't have the pressure of, okay, I need to hurry up and find her a daycare so that I can go out of the office, so that I can go work. I literally can just work it around my schedules. For me, my meetings don't usually happen if she's awake in her like high powered hours. I do try to schedule most of my meetings between her nap time. She takes a nap from 2 to 4, so a lot of my meetings are usually from 2 to 4.
It's the flexibility. I
Yeah.
hear it all the time. So, share with everybody, like, what was the biggest thing that you are most proud of so far in your company?
I would say my growth personally, my personal growth, because as I learn more about who I am able to better serve business owners. When I was really struggling to like with my own identity, it was just I was scattered. I felt scattered. And looking back now, I was just like I was a hot mess. I was all over the place. But the more that I learn about myself and really start aligning with myself, I do realize that I'm able to say, yes, I can do that, or no, but I know somebody who can do that to steer them in a better direction. So that's what I would say would be my biggest accomplishment.
So, on the flip side, what was your greatest challenge, or has been, like, in what you're focusing in on right now? And have you been able to overcome it?
My biggest challenge, is my mindset.
Mm.
My mindset does get in the way. I do second guess myself a lot, and I still do, but it's like a work in progress. Um, I do tend to have the little voice in my head. It's like, okay, why are you doing this? What purpose are you serving? What is this for? Do you really like? Can you do this? And it's really annoying. But that would be my biggest challenge, is fighting my mindset, telling myself the opposite of whatever my head is telling me.
So, what would you suggest to other people who may be battling in their head and questioning they're making the right decisions, the confidence, sometimes there's fear and overwhelm. What would you suggest they do?
If I'm being honest, I tell myself, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, the worst that can happen is the answer is no. But
Yep.
then it's like, on the flip side of that is, what if it's yes? So it's
Yeah.
like, if you do nothing, you're literally doing nothing. You're going to still be here tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after. But if you do it and it doesn't pan out, then you have a sense of direction now. You're like, okay, that didn't work out. Now let's try a different direction. Let's try a different route. So it's more so like the journey. You have to propel yourself forward by actually doing it.
I always say, fear is temporary, regret is forever.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. The
I
fear
like
will
that.
come and go. It will. It's like ebb and flow. And then if you don't move forward, if you don't make the ask, then you'll always wonder, if I had just done that, if I just jumped out of my comfort zone, what could have been the worst thing that ever happened? And you do think back, I should have done that. Why didn't I write that book sooner? So we do get in our own way. So, and I do want to say, hi, Andrea. Andrea is a very special person of mine. I do want to welcome you this evening. And I see Ada BC. Adabesi. I just hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Welcome tonight. Um, so I want to know about how you came up with the name of your company, Virtually Kladi, because I couldn't quite figure out. It wasn't your first name. It's not your last name. There's got to be a story here.
Well, it's funny because the initials are VK and it's flipped. My name is Kiara Vandergriff, or KV. But it actually came up because Kladi is the initials of my family. So I'm Kiara for the K. Liam is my son. A is for Aiko, my oldest. D is for David, my husband. And then I is for Ileana, my daughter.
I love it.
It's my
Okay.
favorite question.
Yeah, that is great. So everybody out there, when we come up with names, and Andrea Reed, who's in our audience, she has a proofreading company, and she spells it with REID, instead of READ. So it's like a play on her last name. And so I
Yeah.
love when we get, creative stuff out there. Um, so you said you don't like marketing, but everybody's got to market their business. I mean,
Oh,
let's
yes.
let's call it what it is. And if you can't hire somebody, it falls on you. What are you doing to reach, influence, and convert your audience? Are there certain platforms you like better than others?
Right now, I'm actually really focused on Instagram, but this year on my to-do list is to really become more active on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and do some outreach there.
Yes.
Um, so that's a goal for this year. But right now, I am mostly on Instagram. I don't really put much effort into Facebook, if I'm being honest.
That's okay. I say to people, you don't have to be on every platform. Like, why spend the time? Pick a few that you can reach your audience. And I will say, your audience is on LinkedIn. We've talked about that. Everybody should have a company page out there because real business happens at LinkedIn. And I say to people, LinkedIn converts 266% better than Facebook and Twitter. So here we spend all that time on, some of those other platforms. And yes, I'm glad that's a goal for you. So what are some of your other goals that you have this year for 2023?
Oh, I actually have a couple of goals in place. I am trying to, not trying, I am going to launch a podcast. Um, yes. It's also it's very much about the journey for different entrepreneurs. but from different platforms as well. So I've got coaches, I've got marketers, social media managers, virtual assistants, just to kind of get a feel for the fact that people do have stories. Because if you would have asked me last year, Maureen, to come on here, I would have said no. I would
I
have said
know.
no.
I
um,
know.
yes, I would have said no. I would have been like, no, just that's not my thing. And if you would have asked me, Kiara, what's your story? I'd be like, I don't have one. Like I was a Marine and now I'm a mom and I help business owners. Like that's it. I would have summed it up just like that. Um, but I've come to realize that everybody has a story. Like nobody just woke up one day and was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a podcaster or, so I do want to help open up the platform for people to tell their stories, as well as kind of become more open with my own story, talk about my time in the military, talk about my time going through the motions of being a mom. So it's kind of like a mix of everything. It's not just business related, but I do have plans to include tips, business tips, and strategies sprinkled along the way.
Good.
And then I also have the goal of opening up VIP days to help business owners really just become more strategized and organized within their business. I'm focusing a lot on ClickUp because I love it. I love ClickUp. Um, and creating templates for people to just kind of plug and play and start getting things going for them.
You've got quite a bit that's on your plate, and I see Holly Totten has joined us. Hey, Holly. And of course, talk about a podcast. She's got an amazing podcast. So if you need any tips, I know, in our community, there are tons of podcasters out there that if I have one more person tell me I need to do a podcast, because that's basically what we're doing, I'll be like, this is good. I think I'm good on the LinkedIn Live, but I do have some people pressuring me. So just want to say, I don't know. We'll see. Not on my goal list right now. I will say that. So explain to me what, a lot of people are probably doing what you do. Let's call it what it is. There's a lot of competition out there. What makes Kiara different than somebody else I could pick?
That is a good question. And I always get stumped when I ask this question because I was told sometimes it comes off as braggy, but really I am very proud of who I am as a person and my ability to be to acclimate to the environment around me. So that's what makes me different. I do pick up relatively fast on the people I talk with, and my brain immediately starts to go into ideas. So you tell me, hey, I have this problem, or I'm struggling with this area, and I immediately start, like, my brain, it sounds like a machine. You ever heard like a machine where it's just do 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 like that? That's what it was going on in my head. I'm like, okay, I automatically want to fix it. So for me, what makes me different is the ability to do that, to think strategically outside of the box, and then come back to you with, okay, this is what I come up with, and then work from there.
That's great. That's great. So tell me what your family thinks about what you do, because family is a big part of the whole entrepreneurial journey. And so, do they understand what you do? Because a lot of people will say, unless you're doing it, we don't really understand it. So, do you have a good support system?
I have a good support system, but they have no idea what I do.
It's so true.
They're like, yeah, I'm all for it. My mom, she'll brag about it, but then she'll be like, yeah, I have this friend who needs business cards created. I'm like, Mom, I don't do that. I don't create business cards. um, but my husband is extremely supportive. And like he'll listen to me talk about it, but he's just like it's like deer in the headlights. Like, what do you
Yep.
do you mean? What are you talking about? And then according to my children, I'm just a mom. What do you do, Mom? You're just on the computer. You're just a mom. So they're not understanding just yet. But I have really supportive friends, and they are. I'm not even sure if they understand what I
Probably
do.
not.
But I have had a few come to me and just to kind of get a better idea of business ideas they have. So we strategize on that. So I guess they have like a small sense, but not the bigger picture.
So, do you feel like you have a community that you can reach out to as well? who
I
do
do, yeah.
understand you do have a community. And that's, I really try to emphasize that every time that, I come here on Thursdays and talk to entrepreneurs. It's very isolating. And just like you confirmed, friends will support you, family will support you, but they have no clue what an entrepreneur goes through unless you surround yourself with other entrepreneurs who get it.
No,
Definitely.
I have an amazing community, and we touch bases with each other, and we keep each other accountable for weekly goals or monthly goals. Like we'll check in, like, hey, where are you on, um, XYZ that you outlined 2 days ago? And it's great because it really keeps us on our toes.
So, is there anything that you could say you do get overwhelmed with in business? Is there a particular thing that you go, this is overwhelming me?
Hmm. I think it's the balance of life, parenting, because that's like never ending, and work. I feel like during the day I do a lot of my work at night because my daughter she's 3, so she's got energy just going, and then when she's down for her nap is like that 2-hour window where I get to do some work. But then my other kids come home, and then I've got to cook dinner. So it's really just trying to find the balance between being a mom and a wife and making sure that everybody's okay and taken care of and emotionally and mentally, provided for, but also still doing what I actually want to do, what I love to do. And I mean, parenting, I love my kids, but it's hard.
It's the
And it's a
hardest thing.
24/7 job.
Oh my gosh, I talk about the how hard entrepreneurship is. No, let's call it what it is. There is nothing harder than being a parent. But do you see parallels with it though? Because you give birth to them, you nurture it, you watch it grow, and the whole idea is to make them independent. And it's almost like a parallel with business.
Yes.
So you're doing the same thing when you got little people, and the rest is kind of on the computer and doing that. But they're so hard, but it's so worthwhile at the end of the day. Um, it is. It's super worthwhile. Do you feel like there's a difference between like how people feel about female entrepreneurs versus male entrepreneurs? Because I'm surrounded by probably more female entrepreneurs. More of my clients are females. And so they seem to be going into business more and more. But do you see there to be a difference out there with how people feel about women as entrepreneurs?
I do see that there are more female entrepreneurs than there are males within the general community. But from what I've understood like based on conversations that I've had with other entrepreneurs, it's more so the fact that for a lot of females, we provide a more nurturing perspective, a more nurturing role, whereas male entrepreneurs, they feel like it's more masculine, the masculine energy, where there's just like, okay, we're just going to get it done, we're just going to do it, which is like, I need to get all these numbers, and it's all about the numbers. And where women are like, okay, I want to see things as a whole. And that's just the feedback I've heard from a lot of the people in the community that I'm in. They're like, okay, when I work with males, it's like just heavy on the numbers and heavy on, the KPIs and getting everything back, and just looking at the feedback and data is very data driven. Whereas the women are like, okay, I want to understand everything as a whole. How is the community? Are we nurturing them? So it's a different kind of dynamic between the two of them. And because of that, I feel like women entrepreneurs are kind of being pushed to the forefront because people are now looking for more of a nurturing partner, nurturing relationship.
I think that's really true. I think people want connection. They don't want just numbers, they want connection. I think you have to have a little bit of a balance because people do want to see results and they want to see the metrics, if you want to call it. But I do. I think you're absolutely right on that. So if somebody was just starting out as an entrepreneur, what words of wisdom do you have for them?
I would say just do it. Literally just go right into it and do it. You don't need to check all the boxes. You don't need to do all the courses. You don't need to, hold it off until you get these specific certs out the way. You can do those along the way. Um, just do it. And if you're going to do it, just even if you're scared, do it scared.
Fear. It's nowhere near as hard to get over as regret. So absolutely.
Yes.
So tell everybody out there, Kiara, where they can get a hold of you Right now, tell me who your like right fit customer is, your ideal customer. Talk to them right now and tell them how to get a hold of you.
Oh, so my ideal customer is anyone who seems to be struggling to find organization within their business. So entrepreneurs, solopreneurs specifically, um, because I understand how hectic it can be when you're doing it by yourself.
Yep.
And you just need a little bit of automation and direction and guidance. And I can actually be found on Instagram at Virtually Kladi.
Now, do you have a website as well?
I do, but it's in work.
Okay.
It is in work, but it is linked in my bio on Instagram.
Okay. All right. So, I have really enjoyed getting to know you better because we've only connected a few times on Clubhouse. And I'm really proud because I have seen the growth from last year to this year. You have an essence of confidence that last year, you're right, you would not have come on this show last year and shared your story, shared who you serve, share what makes you good. So that right there is just a huge success. Huge
Thank you so much,
success.
Maureen, because you you were definitely one of the reasons I have grown, because a lot of the feedback that you did give me on Clubhouse, it did not fall on deaf ears. I did take it into consideration, and it's been a process, but yes.
It's a process for all of us, and I've just enjoyed you coming on here, and I really think other people will find this very relevant and resonate in their own business because they're working on mindset, they're working on pivoting, they're working on finding out what they're good at, what they like, and who their ideal customer is. And so I hope everybody out there has enjoyed what Kiara has said tonight. Kiara, will you come back and give us an update as to how your goals are coming along and if you're achieving them?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Great, great. Well, I told you we have rock star entrepreneurs every single week here. And I have to say, if you are an entrepreneur, and all of you are rock stars, just the fact that you took a calculated risk, you've got the courage, and you're working your butt off, that means you are a rock star. And you qualify to be a guest here to share your story, how you got here, how you're overcoming challenges, the great successes you've had, and reach out to your ideal audience. There's somebody out there who wants your secret sauce. They want your product, they want your service. All right. So please let me know if you would like to be a guest. Reach out to 8simplesteps.net. Or, of course, I'm on all the socials, which is very obvious right this moment. Go ahead and send me a direct message. And if you need a partner to take the hard out of entrepreneurship and eliminate common mistakes, the fear that we've talked about, and the complexity, let me know. Let's have a chat and see if we're a good fit. All right, everybody, we are done for tonight. Next week, I will have the fabulous Kim Keel, who will be here, talk about Rockstar, coming from Canada. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Kiara. I will see everybody soon. Have a good night.
Good night.